Welcome to Wide Net Gaming, taking a look at State of Decay 2 all the way through. Either I complete a legacy, or I die. What I did with this, same with the review, I just made everything randomized, and I'm doing it on the Dread Zone. I've never beaten it on the Dread Zone. I've beaten it on normal, all four. So I'm doing that, and then with the legacies, I'm not adding any from before. I need to have completed, which I haven't, so. The map I get is my least favorite. Of course, I get this one all the time, the Druckner County map. I'm not a fan of this one because of the rocks. Your vehicle gets stuck easily. But I got three female characters, oddly this time, and then Carol from The Walking Dead, who looks like her and has the same name. But how about you guys? What's your least favorite map? Let me know in the comments below. Early on, what I like to do is get as many resources as possible. It's a little more forgiving with the Dread Zone because you'll often get resources in the truck and the truck won't be destroyed either. You just got to fill it up with gas later. Like you see that toolkit I got there early on, which is a big benefit. You're always repairing your car in the higher difficulties. First house you got though is the Vogel house. And all of these are the same in the other maps. They're kind of in the same area, same size. It has like the small slots. You gotta search the house, go through all the rooms, clear them out. There's always some zombies with these too. Combat though wise, it seems a little bit easier. Like the zombies still trickle in Dread Zone, like when you get into combat if you're not careful. But I haven't found it to be too bad. Like the characters will still stand around. I got like 3 of them. She somehow still gets grabbed by a zombie. And same thing, when I'm getting attacked, they'll often stand around, and then I get like eaten up, and then I have to take them out. So that is still an issue, but the emphasis is really on the materials and collecting them. The first one I'm doing is I just dump all my small stuff that I've collected from my truck and the buildings close by, and then after that the rucksack. I forgot I didn't get one for the player that I was controlling, but I'll go around and get all of them from like the people I dropped them off with. This gives you that leg, like I said before, that leg up, because the objectives early on require materials. Either you need to directly collect materials, or you need them to build like those first few buildings. And these are all the small slots. And this too, like it is a bit overwhelming. Like it is engaging at the same time, because you're thinking about all these things. You have your objectives, you have real-time combat, but the building you want to focus on a little more is getting that first building. I stick with the infirmary. Reason being, early on doesn't benefit you much, but later on you can heal, and then clearing out some slots. Combat-wise, with the crossbow, get a little better with it. 1 out of 5 shots or so. Zombies seem more thinned out though again. Like there was a single screamer. Going back to my truck that I am now fueling up. This is the next part, but this is after I get everything settled with the building portion. I'll get that truck going and deciding what materials to bring. Increasing my resource count too, like to 25. You can do that's what I'm doing. That way I don't have like the decay where I'm losing resources. Now I'm getting into that first house. Here the objective is always the same. Like you're usually clearing it out, and then they need that blood plague, the shot. And the dilemma for you is in Dread Zone and in Nightmare Zone, when you take out those blood plague zombies, they don't give you much for samples, rarely if ever. So the easiest is just to go to a plague heart, and then you get enough there, and then you're able to go back. These are pretty close though, and you want to be doing this one to get that first ally early on in case you need another community member later. But I usually pick up resources and then trade with them. I don't know why they have resources in their house that aren't theirs. Repairing, maintaining is always an issue too in the Dread Zone. I'm fixing my truck here, and there's different stages of it. You can fix it fully. I'm trying to fix it up a little more so I don't get stuck somewhere remotely and get swarmed. Surveying, I haven't really done a lot. I did one big one really with this playthrough, and this is to cover your 5 bases of your resources. These are all, a lot of them are in the red early on, so it's good to know, kind of have a plan what's coming up along the way. Like I'll be going to a location and be like, oh, okay, hey, I need ammo, so I'll stop by and pick some of that up. But like doing at least one location does help, but that's been the surprising thing with the Druckner map is just by driving around, I haven't had to really survey too much just with how the buildings are spaced out. Like that's the advantage of the crappy rocks for driving is the buildings usually come across, I guess they're just closer to the road, so you don't have to deal with them. Usually ammo and other things though on these places too. First big one, though, is the gun shop. There's always a gun shop close by, and this is usually by that first community, and I'm looking for that submachine gun I always like. It's a single-shot one, but that always does pop up. I think so, or usually in that first gun shop I'm able to get that. And as always, the lovely car physics returns. I hit a telephone pole, and, that always flips over your truck when that happens in real life. Fortunately, it wasn't stuck upside down. They do have a flip thing where you can flip it over. Reminds me of an old Twisted Metal game. One new thing I am doing, I try to stay close when it is nighttime, is the napalm grenades. Fortunately, through this first part, I surprisingly haven't lost anyone yet, fingers crossed. But this, I've been using more and more. That and the dodge has helped me out in combat a lot. But what always happens to me, even early on, is usually one of my survivors when I'm out, like here you see I'm rotating, gets that blood plague, so I need to really hit that plague heart. And when you do go after a plague heart, it does increase the difficulty, but that's the way to get the samples, though, in the dread zone. Here I'm looking for that extra survivor. They skimp out a little bit more with it, like I feel with these two modes. So anyone that pops up, you really want to be getting, and you're not, it's a beggars can't be choosers thing. No matter what their skills are, you pick them. I think this guy actually has some negative traits that affect morale, but that's just how it is. Here I am with my truck, assaulting the first plague heart that I need for those samples, and as always, it's steaming. That needs to be repaired. I kind of lucked out though. Like the surprising thing is it's been sparse. Here I have my silenced single-shot submachine gun. Like, there hasn't been zombies. I'm just waltzing in here. And I didn't see anyone, actually, early on. All I did was I got some napalm, and then I had my submachine gun, and I was just assaulting this first one. And it took a while, but I didn't have any come in. Maybe this will change later as the game progresses, but this was actually pretty easy assaulting this first one. Like there's one guy there on the right, but that really, and you see the little sound blips going off, but they go away after you destroy it. A surprise here though is even though it was easier, they don't give you much for the ammo early on. At least I got a crossbow, like that's no big deal. I got one fuel bomb, and then the other stuff is meh, basically. But at least it was easy, able to get those samples. And so far, it's also been easier with the blood plague, with healing my community members. I ran into, though, a hostile community right away. It happened to be close by. So one thing I like about with State of Decay 2 is the randomized elements. Like there'll be the same type of ones, but you don't know where they're at. You don't know when they're going to pop up. So I had one of these, and I already had my weapons and ammo from assaulting the plague heart, so I thought I'd check this one out. What I haven't liked before about, I'll typically ignore hostile communities because they'll be shooting at you, and then you'll scavenge to see what you have after you take them out, and they'll have like a pistol or no gun, just a melee weapon. So wanted to check that out just because I was close by. I could take them out and then get a different community that wasn't hostile. Not too bad though. In the dread zone, you don't have to worry about getting one-shotted. Like you'll get headshot and then you'll die in the nightmare zone. This one, my AI guy, he does better against humans than zombies apparently. So that made that easier. But I was surprised by the weapons that I got. I actually got some decent ones this time around, and it wasn't too hard combat-wise either fighting them. I don't find like that there's too many hostile communities that pop up through a playthrough where they're an issue, and the main complaints people have are with morale affecting with certain things, but they don't attack you, so you don't have to worry about getting sieged by another human community. Knock, knock. Along with finding groups of people, there's also those survivor activities, and those become group communities that you can choose to do. Sometimes you get stuck with a bunch of zombies, it's not worth it, and then my partner dies. So if it happens to me, other times it's he goes to another community, and then you're doing an objective, and it's pretty easy. So you have that randomization. There really is a lot of like player agency that way. You have to decide what to do. Like, you know the type of objectives if you played the game enough, but you know you got to ignore stuff. And this is the end of my part one. Usually when I give either my community member or myself a shot for that blood plague that I always get. Let me know if you like this type of video. Give me a like or dislike. Subscribe if you really liked it. I'll be doing a part 2 very soon. And I will see you next time.